So it brings us to a good question. Why is calling a mayday such a problem? So there's no real national standard that tells you, how to do it or when you should do it. We kind of get out of the idea of teaching it back to that out of sight, out of mind mentality. We don't really have a problem with that around here. Well, we've been lucky, right? So in theory, they don't have any specific parameters or rules. We don't say, if this ABC happens, then you call Mayday. No, so we have to just figure out what are these situations that we might get into and teach off that. And there's no system. Like I said, there's no system that says A, B, and C has happened, now I call my Mayday. So it's kind of fire at the hip. So we're going to talk about some of those parameters and some things that would definitely warrant a Mayday call. Mayday is 90% mental and 10% physical. There's nothing physically hard about it. You're keying up a radio. As long as you can get to a radio, you're going Mayday, 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 and you're passing along some information. But 90% of it is up here. Knowing how to call it, knowing when to call it, and being able to call it. And I say being able to, you may think, well, that doesn't sound like it's going to be a big deal. It is when you're inside there and you think, oh man, is this a Mayday situation? You sit there and second guess yourself. Should I call it? I'm going to look like a wuss. Those kind of things. So the big thing is we got to get into having this attitude of survival. I'm going to the fire and I'm coming back. And so are the people that are going with me. And we kind of have this thought to our head. And I know some of you have seen these pictures. But I like sharing them anyway because they're good pictures and they mean a lot to me. So the idea of, oh, it'll never happen to me. Will it happen? Yeah, maybe. I ran around for the longest time thinking, yeah, sure. Fire trucks wreck all the time. It's not going to be us, especially not with my brother driving. He's the best driver on the department. Yeah, then you end up upside down in a ditch. So it happens. So it may happen, and it could happen, and sometime in your career, if you spend enough time in the fire service and going to fires and riding in fire trucks, something will happen to you. It's just a matter of what is it, when is it, and how bad is it. So that's why we're here. We're trying to prepare for the stuff that we can prepare for. We're trying to control what we can control. Top right, doe run. Didn't look like that when we went in. So one of them deals, just rapid fire progression. Holy smokes, there's a wall of fire.
Dormer came in, it looks like.
It did, yeah, that was a treat. Yeah.
Was Steve on that one?
Yeah, that's him there. Steve's there. I think that Scott Miller was on our department at the time. And me and Nick Gover were trying to make it down the stairs. And it was scary. It was one of those deals where it was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to run through fire. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try because I'm getting out of here. But it hadn't came down that far, but it was definitely like, I'm short, and it was at my head.
That 3660 on the bottom?
That's the one. That's the one and only.
Kind of familiar.
Yep. Go on one of your guys' calls.
Looks a little better now.
There was a trailer on Blue Road. I was talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a ride.
We were talking about it when we were on that drive.
My neck still hurts. So I'm gonna pose this question to you. We'll talk about the pictures I've got here. Have you ever been faced with a personal emergency on the fire ground? You may not have called Mayday, but something may have came up, right? Anybody? Yeah, like I mentioned before a couple slides back, if you spend enough time doing it, something's going to happen. It might be something as simple as going in, getting turned around, and they blow the air horns for the emergency evacuation. That is enough to set you up and freak you out, and then all of a sudden, I just forgot everything that I just did. I have no idea how I got here. I want to go this way. Well, no, you can't go that way because there's a giant hole in the floor. No, there's not. That's over there. No, I'm telling you, you can't go that way. And you spend 5 minutes arguing with your partner because you're just turned around. It wasn't a huge deal. He knew where he was at, but so this is my story, and some of you may have heard it, but I'm going to share it for the people that haven't. This is in Park Hills, May 2015-ish, story and a half house. nothing out of the ordinary for like Eldons, if you've been over in that area. You know what those houses are like. So when they arrived, this was the first arriving, somebody took this picture. They got one line stretched, looks like going somewhere. The picture on the right is after the collapse happened. So we get there, I don't even remember. We got there in enough time that it was still burning good. That fire wasn't there. The rooftop fire was gone. So we go to staging, me and Dave Chilton and Grant Chitwood, if anybody knows him. It was Grant's first night going to a fire ever. Kid was green as green could be. And I just had that weird feeling. I'm gonna start off by telling you, if you got the weird feeling or your gut tells you something's up, listen to your gut. Because I had that night. So we waited, and then Chief Pratt came over and said, all right, Farmington, I need you, like he normally would do. I need you to get in there and see if you can make some progress. He's like, I'm giving you 5 minutes. All right, I'm a young kid. 5 minutes is a challenge. I've got it. We're gonna knock this thing out. So we go in, start poking at the ceiling there in the first floor, and it's just solid. Tongue and groove, cool. So I feel good. The house is built good. It's an older house. Like, we gotta find stairs. Gotta find stairs to get upstairs. So ran out of hose trying to get to the stairs, and I was so committed to find the stairs for some weird reason. But Chilton went back and said, I'm gonna go pull some more hose. We left Grant Chitwood at the door, so don't come in the door. So I go up the stairs, I make it to the half story. There's fire blowing everywhere in the half story. I'm like, cool, just need my Dave. As I turn around and go back down, the most god-awful sound of this house coming in on us took off. And it was like a mix between, you've probably never been in a hurricane. I've actually been in one. A hurricane and an earthquake is what it literally sounded and felt like. The whole house was shaking. Stuff's falling in on me as I'm trying to go down the stairs. And I'm yelling for Dave. Can't find Dave. So I end up running into Dave face to face. And he's like, I don't have the hose. We're trapped. I'm like, oh boy. He's like, we're trapped. And he literally tells me that we're going to die. Dave's a senior firefighter at this point. He tells me we're going to die. And I'm like, no, we're not in this house. So sure enough, I go back to the way that we came in, and there is a solid wall, like not getting through anything. I'm feeling high, I'm feeling low, side to side, and that's when it hit me. I'm like, dude, we got a problem. And the whole time, Chief Pratt's yelling at me on the radio, like, hey, interior, hey, interior. And I'm just trying to process what the heck has happened. So I'm not answering it. Just give me a minute, you know, like, I'm alive, but what just happened? So he actually calls the Mayday for us. He says, okay, we've got a Mayday situation. Let's get our stuff together, basically. So I finally said, okay, I gotta call this Mayday. So I did, and long story short, we end up self-rescuing out of this window right here, which happens to be a kitchen. So there was a couple things learned from that. That's where the one thing I said earlier about the radio, always have a radio. I was the only one in there that had the radio. So had I not been able to find Dave, Dave's gone. Like if that roof would have actually sat on him, I probably would have never found him until the fire went out and we got to dig. The other thing from that was the self-rescue class that I had just taught like 3 nights prior is probably what allowed us to bail out of there properly. Because we had the training in our head, it was fresh. And then that, like I said, that picture on the right after we came out. So, scary deal. And since then, I looked at the whole thing totally different. He can tell you from personal experience, I've bailed us out of houses, not bailed physically, but like get out. Because I'm hearing something that just takes me right back to that night. And we go outside and say, oh, okay, I don't know what it was. We're all right. We regroup and we go back in. But ever since that happened, it's like my senses are on 20. So initiating a Mayday. The term Mayday typically will be used in the following situations, but not limited to. So we can initiate it by a company member who's lost, trapped, stuck, whatever. We can initiate it by a company officer or a sector officer, so maybe you're unaccounted for. Hey, I'm checking in, give me your PAR, give me a CAN report, whatever I'm trying to do, but I can't reach you, I'm gonna initiate the Mayday for you. Okay. We can initiate by a member who's witnessed or has confirmed that a firefighter is lost or in trouble. So I'm working with Joe. I use Joe because we spent like 3.5 years together. Joe goes down, oh no, I can call a Mayday for Joe. Okay. The term emergency traffic will be used to report other emergencies. Do not try to call Mayday with emergency traffic, whatever. Use that Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. That tells command that you have an immediate problem. Emergency traffic is for other issues. Emergency traffic. Perry didn't shut down the UP track and there's a train coming at us. Something like that.
Could turn into a Mayday.
Yeah, exactly. IC should contact dispatch by announcing the Mayday traffic. Kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier. Anytime, if you're in command of that incident, you have Mayday. We got to relay that information to them because they may have policies in place that in the event that Mayday gets called, they bang out a second alarm automatically. Or maybe they move that traffic. They drop alert tones.
Exactly. If there's any, on the fire ground, if there's any indication of a Mayday and or a person trapped, they'll automatically kick it up an alarm.
Yep. That's
And
pretty
they clear
typical.
the channel, whoever called the Maydays on usually.
Yep.
And no matter what channel it is, everybody else changes channels, so they don't have to.
Let's see if I got that in here.
What do you mean by that? Much more.
So we've got, so here, like he was talking, they've got several different command channels that they go to. Here in St. Francis County, we've got 4. We have 4 fire ground or command channels. So when we go to a working fire, we move off our fire main channel, and it's just like it's a private channel essentially that we can use to operate, talk on the fire ground. So what happens is 9 times out of 10, and they're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4 ops for operations, right? So 9 times out of 10, they assign you ops 1 when you go to the fire. So you'd be operating on that operations 1 channel, and they actually have a policy over there at dispatch. In the event that there's a Mayday called, that anybody that's not involved with that Mayday moves off of that channel and goes to channel 4. That is their dedicated Mayday channel. So I don't want, if I'm the guy calling Mayday, we don't want that person trying to fumble around, switch channels and go to a different channel. No. They need to stay, that's their priority now. So everybody else that's not involved, so if you're a water supply or whatever you're doing, you're getting off that channel or you're not talking on it. We're leaving that for the person that's having a Mayday, instant command, and a working RIT crew, whoever is going to try to rescue this person.
Let me understand it a little more. You shouldn't be fire maintenance. If it's a working fire, they ought to be on ops 1.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. When calling Mayday, the personnel will use the following format in their message. So, like we talked earlier, we're going to key that radio, we're going to call Mayday, 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 and we're going to release it. If you have an emergency button, the orange ones, I use Kenwood because I know you guys use Kenwood here. And you should, it's the best. If you got that programmed, feel free to push the emergency button. If not, key your radio and Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Okay? Then you're going to await acknowledgement. So we need to wait so somebody answers us so that we know we're heard. You can't just start blaring out Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I'm in the basement. I fell to the floor. It's bad, bad, bad. They may only get it's bad, bad, bad before they hear it. Okay? So instant command, whoever's listening to that frequency, go ahead with your Mayday. And then we can continue with the next transmission being the LUNAR acronym, or the other one that I like is UCAN. Let's see here. Apparently I didn't lay that out for you. Who's heard of LUNAR? Right? Okay, a few of us, right? So location, unit, name, assignment and error, and resources. So LUNAR is great, and a lot of places teach it, and a lot of places have it in their policy. It's a lot. And I can tell you from personal experience that you're not going to get LUNAR out.
No.
You're not gonna get all the stuff that comes with that acronym. Now, for what it's worth, it's a base. It's a base for you to get started on getting your message out and getting people to help find you. But I personally like this one: unit, conditions, actions, and needs. Who are you? What's going on? What actions are you taking, and what do you need from us? I can tell you that when I called Mayday, it was Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Pratt answers me, and I simply tell him, hey, we got 2 firefighters stuck, and there's a collapse. We're in the center of the building. We're trying to find our way out. That was it. That's all I got out. I didn't turn on my pass device. I didn't turn on a flashlight. Didn't happen. So we'll call that Mayday, get that rolling first. Okay, so they can get help on the way to you. And then we're going to utilize self-rescue skills if we can. Skills and techniques that firefighters may use to solve your own emergency. That is self-rescue. It decreases the chances of firefighters getting into emergency situations on the fire ground. A little podium. And increases the chances of successfully resolving those emergencies that do occur. The reason you need to have self-rescue skills in your brain and in your abilities is because that RIT team may not always be established. The closest people that were operating by you may not be near you anymore. So there's times when it is you. That's it. You've got to rely on you to get out. It may look something like that. I'm telling you, when it happens, you're not going to care how you come out. You just went out. But if we can get you some skills to use, it might help you. So self-rescue occurs when a firefighter uses specific techniques to get out of an emergency situation, such as when you're trapped or entangled. It's a low-frequency, high-risk event. It requires practice and training. Over time, without practice, your skills may diminish, so regular refresher training is important. I like to do, on shift, we have to do 2 hours of shift training at work. So you always sit around, what can we do, what can we do? Oh, we just did that. Well, yeah, you think you just did it, but it was 6 months ago when you just did it. Oh, we probably should pull that piece of equipment out and go over it again. Because when it matters, I may not have it fresh in my mind to be able to use it, and I'm gonna look like a fool. Same thing with this. So if training officers come down on you, hey, we're gonna do bailouts, or we're gonna do this. Yeah, let's do it, because that's the stuff that's gonna help us, it's gonna save us. And if we're good at it, if we get to the point where we can't get it wrong here, chances are you're gonna get something right when it comes down to it. And you're gonna be thankful that he annoyed you with getting out and doing the pop. So here's some techniques, okay? Window bailouts. So you got ladder maneuvers and you've got hang and drop kind of maneuvers, okay? Ladder maneuvers, we're gonna look at a few of them. We're gonna do one. That's one picture there on the left. They're doing a ladder bailout. That's if you get a ladder. What if you got to get out right now and there is no ladder? And you don't have your fancy stuff either. Don't you?
It's gonna hang and drop.
You're going to hang and drop, right? I don't have my deal, my escape system. I don't have that on my pack. Or, whoops, I forgot. Because I don't train with it. I forget it's there. Yeah, we're going to hang and drop. So, teach you how to do that safely, as safe as we can. There's reduced profile maneuvers. So we have wall breaches, skills where we can remove our harness or move the harness to the side of your body, move it in front of your body, whatever it may take to get through small openings. That's also good stuff to work on. You never know when you may be in a room that you can't get out of and you're like, oh man, I'm going to have to breach a wall and get into the next room over. That was one thing. Changed the way that I grabbed tools coming off the truck that night, because I had a 3-foot pipe pole about like this, and after the fact I'm like, what would I have done with that? Like, yeah, I could break through drywall, but like if I was on the exterior side of a structure and that was my only option, probably not getting through the side of that house without a lot of fighting. So think about the tools that you're grabbing when you go to work. And entanglements. There again, we're in a day and age where we can get online and you can get all kinds of plans to build all kinds of props and have this stuff right here at your firehouse. Entanglement is a good one. They talked about swim techniques and using wire cutters and things like that. Because like I talked earlier, everything comes down. When fire burns a house, it all comes down, including wires and whatever they had in the attic. Drop ceiling, yeah. All right, so here's a couple videos. The first one is the one we're gonna do, and the second one is more of a advanced maneuver that we're not gonna do. 'Cause I'm not a big fan of it. I've seen too many people get hurt. Being able to hear him is not really that important. The wind's really getting him right now, but they'll go up to the top and they'll take from the top side.
This is a rescue angle. It's not your typical climbing angle. If you're on a ladder to a second-story window, it should be 2 to 3 rungs, depending upon the grading. 2 to 3 rungs up should give you a good rescue angle for any ladder to a second. Firefighter is actually going to go through the process on the inside of what it looks like to do a first ladder bailout. First, he's going to be crawling to the window, opening the ladder there, feeling the sill of the window, clearing away any glass, and then making sure that the ladder is actually placed where it should be. Firefighter Griffin's gonna stay low due to heat. Go head first out. Go ahead and stop there, Sean. He's gonna try and get his feet back here as wide as he can, trying to hook the windowsill, and then work his way down to the bottom of the window. He's just going to grab every rung on the way down and use his feet as a brake on each rung. So he should be able to hold himself with his feet like he was just showing you. He goes down, he got his feet as a brake, and just guide himself down the ladder. That's good.
All right, we're not gonna watch the rest of that one.
I can tell you right now, if I'm trapping fire, it ain't going that smoothly.
Right.
Gas is coming out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, you're gonna want out. If there's a ladder there, it's gonna be awesome. I'm jumping out and going head first. That's probably what you're gonna do, so that's what we're gonna train on. The next one is the more advanced one. You've probably seen it, I'm sure. Feel free to practice this on your own time. Like I said, we're not gonna do it for this particular course. I'm not a big fan of it. If you can master it and you do it live, like I got a video of a guy that does it, you look like your boss, but it's dangerous. See that?
That's how I do.
Yeah,
That's how I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we were taught.
Same here.
That's like carrot top teaching it that way too.
Actually, if you practice it enough, like you can get really good at it. And like I said, there's a guy that I've got a video. He does it live in a situation.
And it's actually bailed out, and our feet stopped us, and we fell down on the ladder. Went down a few rungs,
Okay.
looked over, slid down.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
What did you say about the angle of the ladder? I missed that.
On that first one?
Yeah.
So they were saying that was a rescue angle on their ladder. So for those of you that haven't been through Firefighter 1 and 2, a climbing angle, the proper angle to set your ladder at when you're climbing for normal operations is at a 75-degree angle. Okay, how do you measure that? It's quite simple. You can put your ladder on the building, lean it against wherever you're trying to work to, and walk up to it. And if you can put your arms straight out and reach a rung and you're level basically with the ground. If you're here, not real good. If you're here, not real good. So the idea would be, if I'm right about here, I've got a good climbing angle according to, yeah, people that write the books.
If so.
If the Jones Bartlett, all those great people
Yeah.
tell us how to do our jobs.
The higher you get though, you do need to back the base out a little bit, because when the ladder sags, it makes it almost straight up when you get up towards the
That's a
top.
good point. So yeah, they were just calling it a rescue angle, so if we were to do a rescue, whether we were going in after somebody or we know somebody's coming out, the idea is that we would just go ahead and back that ladder back to a safer angle, because we know they're coming out and they're gonna be ready to get out. So we wouldn't want that steep 75, we want something a little bit less of a grade.
Look more almost like a 45.
Yeah. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't that great.
Well, no, but I mean, closer.
Yeah.
It was pretty.
Yep, lost it.
57.
Sure.
All right, this is the one I want to show you. So, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
You sure awake now?
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This guy, just a bystander, happens to catch this with his. I think he goes Facebook Live with it actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, a couple benchmarks I just want to point out before we start the video. They have a mayday situation. This guy's working on a. He's either on a 3rd floor or he's on a half story of a 2-story, something like that. Anyway. They make a mayday call over the radio and about 50 seconds into this thing, and at 1:40, so less than a minute later, they have a ladder to the window. And there was not a ladder even anywhere. Guy gets it off the truck, gets it to the window in less than a minute, and the mayday firefighter is out in a minute and 20 seconds. From the time that he calls the mayday, he's out, bails out, and this guy, you can tell, has done this technique before. He's practiced it for this day. In Harrisburg, if you're not familiar with them, like they get down, they fight a lot of fire, and they go like deep into these structures. So he is way up, he'll go back to it. He's way up in here still yet. Yeah, so top floor, smoke, got nowhere else to go. Smoke and heat is just killing this guy right now in the top floor of this house. There's the window. Breaks the window. I guess it's a half story, looks like. Which,
Like to turn the attic into a.
yep, exactly. Thank you for saying that.
That's the same way every time station ladder.
Yep, so they got the ladder, they're moving with purpose. They're getting another ladder, the chief's even in on it. They got one guy over there to the right, he comes out with another one, I believe. So they're not even on the same floor, and those guys are bailing out. Head first. It's a steep angle.
Yeah.
He does it.
There's a fence in the way there.
That's it. He's like, cool, I'm out. He goes, gets checked by medical, goes back to work.
Yeah.
Yep, like it was no big deal. But it was about to be a big deal.
Yeah.
So, pretty cool.
That's a to go out that way on that steep of an angle from that height is a mental game.
Oh yeah.
To hook your arm and flip is a very large mental game on that angle.
All right, a little bit of reduced profile. kind of look at that real quick, give you an idea of what we mean by reduced profile.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd take chances at 2.5 story wall before. I've done that one before, I'll do it again.
Hello, this is skill 8D, which is the Firefighter Survival low profile skill. What we're doing right now is we're clearing out the bottom part to check to see if there's any extension. And then we're going to clear out the
So we're simulating a wall, right? Studs in a wall.
Yeah, sending out to the other side. Because this room is turning into a bad situation. Now, the chief right now is currently showing us that he's loosening his waist strap and his left shoulder strap and the right shoulder strap so he can slide the air pack around to his left side. So now he could get his leg through and the SUV through. Then he swims back with his left arm while positioning himself through the opening and then slides his right leg back through and into safety of the other room. Then after that, he's going to reposition his SCBA back onto his body by tightening all the straps and sliding the SCBA back into position. And now he's safely and secure.
Okay. That's one that you can practice on your own, build your little wall prop, and you can practice getting through reduced profiles. It's one of the things that you got to figure out what works for you, because what works for me isn't going to work for the next person, chances are. And I've seen, if you know
Hey,
Chris,
you're half my size.
right? If you know Chris Turner, right?
We're gonna have to kick the stud out and then go.
Yeah,
through.
that's not.
I've seen him get through a surprisingly small opening in a maze training.
It's actually smaller than it's 14.
I think it even surprised him when he was able to do it. But he just played around with different techniques and he was able to move through it.
That's the
They've trained on that one, so them
Yeah.
things are all chewed up on the
They
edges.
sure are.
Trying to go through there.
We have an entanglement. We'll take a look at this. Not too long.
I've seen a few trainings like this, even in the training, people freak out.
In this video, we will cover how to free yourself of an entanglement.
Yeah, these are.
If you find yourself stuck on an entanglement, remain calm and control your breathing. Try to figure out how you are entangled and start by changing your position to free yourself. For example, simply backing up or turning to your side may free you from it.
You guys have one of these built?
No, I'm gonna build one. I'm gonna do a chain, so.
If you need to cut wires, do so only after notifying command to ensure that the building's power has been secured. Once free, try to position your bottle up against the wall and the floor, as the bottle is typically what gets entangled. While on your back, use the swimmer technique to clear the obstacles.
So the swim technique that I mentioned earlier, this is what he's actually going to do. And it's just a way to kind of get the wires of the instruction up and away from you and move it behind you. That's pretty much it. So we'll hit the summary real quick here. I like this quote. So it usually ends up in anything that I try to present. In the heat of battle, you don't remember very much. You don't think very fast. You act by instinct, which is really training. So you've got to be trained for battle so that you will react exactly the way you did in training. And that was this Admiral Arleigh Burke. He was U.S. Navy. And I just think it fits this stuff to a T all day long. What we do is we go to battle, and not every time is it the same, right? So we have to prepare. And basically the summary of that paragraph is, if you have nothing up here to fall back on, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We don't know. And it could be as simple as, this is my first fire, there's a fire blowing out of the window, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Well, you've never done it. Now you go to 10 of those fires, guess what? You got muscle memory built up here. You go to the fire, you put the fire out, you pull the line, you do all that. All right? Self-rescue, mayday, any of this stuff that we do is no different. we've got to build the database to be able to pull it and use it. Does that make sense? All right, let me see what else we got here. Maybe one more. Cat references, cool, that's not for you. All right. Part of this is we're going to do a quiz, and that's going to get turned in as well. And I got some skill sheets here. Like I said before, looking for 8 to 10, however many I got printed off. Whoever wants to participate in my project, that would be great. We'll have you do the skills. I've got to touch on a couple things here. One thing I want to do real quick is, before I pass out the quiz, we'll talk about the practical skill sheets, and then I can cut this video and we can take that down. So the first one we'll do is the window bailout with the use of the ladder. So instructors that I have here, Joe and Matt, they're going to be helping you guys on the platform up there or on the ground. One of them will be with you at all times to assist you with each of these. So like I said, the window bailout with the use of ladder, we'll go over the instructions and everything up there. And the other one will be the window bail hang and drop. So these are kind of set up just like any other state certification course. As you get into doing courses, a lot of skill sheets and stuff that are developed up to state level. It looks something like this, where they've got some instructions for you, some objectives that you're supposed to be able to hit, and certain steps that you do for the skill. So that's how we're going to run it. Don't worry, you're going to get through it just fine, and it'll be, I think it'll be a good experience for you. So with that being said, I need to cover a safety briefing before when we go upstairs on the bailout prop. So all participants, so if you're participating in the bailout portions of this, we need to wear full PPE, including your SCBA. You don't have to be on air, but I want you to at least have the SCBA on to simulate going out of that window with the air pack on, because that's what it's going to be. Okay, so that's going to make it real for you. Only one participant will be performing the evolution at one time. So we're not going to put 2 people through the hole at the same time. We're going to keep it safe. Safety officer, which is going to be Brian, if that's cool. Brian will be our safety officer. He's going to have the final say in any situation that raises a safety concern. So Brian, if he sees something that's not good or something that's going to end up in a bad situation, he's going to stop the evolution. We're going to fix our problem, and then we'll continue on. There's going to be 2 instructors for each evolution. We mentioned that I'll have one on the prop platform and the other will be on the ground. And the last little thing here is just only one participant on the platform at a time. So it'll be the instructor, and then whoever's going through the window on the platform, everybody else, just kind of in the staging area. That way nobody gets kicked in the face or pushed off the platform. All right, this time we're going to cut the video. Please and thank you, Joe. And